This is the KoperCrabb Podcast. Coming in hot with the intro. Naveen Copperwise here.
And I'm Cheney Crab.
Oh shit, Miss Cheney in the building. New angle for you guys. Look at that fucking new angle. Game show angle.
The fourth angle.
Fourth angle, game show style. Still wrapping my mind around how to do this software stuff.
Yeah, on our first episode, our wide angle kind of got screwed up. It froze.
Bit the dust.
Yeah.
And yesterday I spent like, I don't know, a hell of time trying to get this thing set up.
Yeah.
And we got the kick-ass theme song.
Yeah, that theme song rules.
Love me some theme song.
Very, very sick.
Funny story behind the theme song, which we want to tell you guys about. But first, Cheney, what are we drinking today?
Today we're drinking coffee from Cat and Cloud in Santa Cruz, where we live.
Yeah, Santa Cruz Cat and Cloud.
We ran into a friend at a show, and he told us to try Cat and Cloud.
Mm-hmm. It's like one of these smarmy, hipster kind of coffee places.
Mm-hmm. It's really good.
Pretty good, yeah. We kind of got after a little bit too much beer yesterday, so we're doing coffee today.
I think this coffee is better than the other super hipster place in Santa Cruz that we had.
That Blue Bottle? No.
No, it's not Blue Bottle. I can't remember the name of the place, but what I do remember is the barista sniffing our coffee.
Yeah, it was like in a beaker.
And we were outside, and it was taking forever to get our coffee.
It took what?
I think it took like 20 to 30 minutes
crazy
to get our coffee that day.
Yeah.
And it was, what is that kind of coffee that comes with club soda?
Tonic.
Yeah.
She put coffee with tonic water.
Yeah, what's that called?
I don't know what it's called.
I don't know what it's called either, but anyway, her final step, I watched her do this, was sniffing our coffee.
Just making sure it's
and
the bomb.
That was during the 30th minute of us waiting for our coffee.
Absolutely.
We got it,
ridiculous.
and it was like, I'd rather drink Starbucks than that stuff. I can't remember the name of it, and I don't want to slander the business, but Jesus.
I thought
Cat and Cloud is pretty good. I enjoy it. It's got a chocolatey
Give it a shot.
flavor.
Other little improvements to the show. We got some headphones now.
Yeah, what's the name of this headphone company again?
Direct Sound headphones.
Shout out to Direct Sound. They're our first
supporters, sponsors.
Mm-hmm. Thank you guys. These headphones rule. Everything sounds perfect. My voice sounds great. Naveen's voice sounds great. I think the wide angle's
cutting out on us again.
Again?
Yeah. What the hell? Thing sucks. All right, we'll just use game show. We're going game show and then these two. Fuck it.
Cool. Well, at least we noticed this time. No big deal.
It was
anyway.
earlier. Look at that. Latency. I'm never going to get this thing right.
Is it happening again where the latency
Somewhat, yeah. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
No big deal. Okay. Well,
hopefully people are listening now because the show is going to be it's on Spotify.
It's on Spotify now. We're waiting for Apple Podcasts to approve it or go through their process to put it up. It's on Google Play. We're going to get it on Stitcher and all of the other places as well. Yeah. Thank you guys for the people that are tuning in to our show. Thank you so much for listening to the first episode. It's been really cool getting feedback.
It's been super cool.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
You make the show, and then you... I personally, when I'm making like a show, well, I've only made one show, but when I'm making...
when I make my shows...
When I'm making music or something, I just kind of concentrate on doing the thing. And I don't really think about what's going to happen after it comes out.
Yeah,
right?
How it will be received or the fact that people are going to watch it or listen to it at all.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, okay, we got to get the show done. We got to do the show.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I never think about when it's actually out there. And now that it is, it's really cool. And, hopefully we can continue to connect with people and make cool friendships and things over this. This is really awesome, and it's been inspiring.
This is a hangout show. Mm-hmm. I like to call it home base.
You've got a whole slogan for it.
I've
now.
got a slogan. I'm going to try it out one day, but not today. How about that?
Today's not the day for your slogan.
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think so. We got to leave a little cliffhangers
Fair
each
enough.
time. Last time I said I wouldn't answer the animals question.
Yeah. Bump, bump,
This time, what's the slogan? So, but yeah, the theme song is actually not a theme song. It's so I made the song, and it's Cheney and I had this killer idea to start a industrial rock project, and the idea lasted about all of 30 minutes. And we were like super into the idea, right? We were like making touring plans and shit.
Yeah, I would say for like a week we were fully invested in making an industrial side project because you had written a different song.
Right.
A different song, and I heard the chorus for it, and I wrote a chorus for it right away because it was so sick.
Yeah,
I think it might be a riff you would put up on Naveen K or something as something you had been working on.
It was a little clip that I'd been working on with the modular synth stuff.
Right.
And then I made that chorus to go with it because you were like, oh, that clip's kind of cool. Maybe we could do something with that.
Yeah.
Maybe I could be a guest on it or something. And then you ran in from the other room like, oh, I'm going to do a course on that right now. Mm-hmm. And we were like, this is it. This is our ticket out.
Yeah.
This is it.
And for the record, I think it was one of the coolest things that we've written together. It's so, I'm so proud of that chorus that we wrote. But
maybe now we're going to have to put it out.
Yeah, maybe. But then we tried kind of writing the rest of the song after we had made all of these grandiose plans about our new band.
Sort of fell apart.
And yeah, the verse wasn't jiving. I don't know, it was weird,
yeah. But it got me to realize.
Someday maybe we'll put that song out because it is really good.
Yeah.
Or the chorus.
I'm down to put it out whenever. You guys are going to have to roll through.
Maybe it can be like a Naveen K.
Rally the troops. Trash. Convince Cheney to put that song out. Seriously. She's standing in the way.
Yeah.
And it kind of got me thinking that I've done so many running around all over the place trying to do this, that, and the other thing, depending on whatever I'm listening to that day. And that's one of the things that I'm stoked about with Entheos is I've decided to commit to it and see it through. And really see where it goes. And it's been awesome. It's been super sick with the band.
Yeah, it's been great. We've been a band for about 5 years, probably. And I think that there have been several points, as there are when you're taking on some kind of artistic endeavor, where we could have been, we could have made the decision to not do it anymore.
Right.
Not because we weren't in love with it or things have happened in our band that we've lost members and things like that. And it's always kind of heartbreaking when you go through that experience as a band. But really, it seems that the whole thing is about perseverance. There are so many bands that I think about from back in the day. I call like 2007 to 2010 back in the day, or maybe a little earlier, who, if they would have just persevered and stayed bands, I feel like they would have been gigantic.
And it's not really, that's not even a band thing. That's just the perseverance, the consistency. It's so crucial in everything that you do in your life.
Absolutely.
Because, yeah, you'll be super fired up one day, right? All motivated to get everything done. And you can't rely on that because you're not going to feel like that most days. There's going to be certain days where you're super hyped up, but for the most part, it's just playing the long game and just riding it out and getting up and doing it even when you don't feel like it. And I think Entheos, for me, started that mindset. Like, hey, I'm going to do this until it goes to where I want it to go. Or just I'm riding this out forever and see where it goes.
Absolutely.
And see where stuff goes that I haven't got to see before.
Right. And I feel like we've been able to experience a lot of really cool things through doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if our band would have stopped being a band before this year, we never would have gone to Mexico as a band. If we would have stopped being a band before last year, we never would have gone to Europe as a band. And just keeping at things and seeing them through and seeing the results that you can get by really sticking with something and really giving it your all, you're bound to see good happen through that for yourself.
And there's going to be times that there's tough times, right? But I think even what's harder in a way is those kind of mediocre times, you know? Because if it gets tough, you're like, well, fuck it, we're going to just blast through this, you know?
Right.
And when it's sort of just mediocre, like just kind of floating along, that's when you can start to lose interest and say, oh, I'm going to make an industrial side project, you know? We're going to refit the van to have a little stove in there.
So it's only going to need to take 2 people on tour from now on.
Oh, we're only going to need 2 people. Let's put a little couch in here.
Right.
But so that's sort of what we wanted to talk about today. We got a lot of good questions about the band.
Yeah.
The touring life. Mm-hmm. And before we get to that, we wanted to shout out some bands. Shout out some new music. Last week we had somebody ask us to shout out some lesser known
bands, I think. And last week we talked about Opme and Cognizance.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so I think every week we're going to try to do that.
Totally. So first let's shout out. We just went on tour with a band from New Jersey. Naveen has their shirt on right now. The name of the band is Sentinels.
Sentinels.
And they're
out of New Jersey. These guys are just ripping it.
They're incredible. They just put out an album called Unsound Recollections, and it is a banger.
It's hard.
And live,
straight up hard.
They kill it.
Yeah, it reminds me of Ion Dissonance type stuff.
Yeah.
Like that early 2000s chaotic breakdown stuff, but done really well.
Yeah, well, done really well. And I would say they have like there's a new school twist on it.
Definitely, especially with the vocals and stuff.
Yeah. And I love Joe's vocals are awesome. They hit like that like hardcore-ish type metal, that kind of mid-range scream that I am such a sucker for. Definitely. That kind of stuff.
And also the drums are super sick.
Oh,
Dave's an awesome
it's
drummer.
all super sick. The
production
riffs.
is killer. And the last song has an M. Night Shyamalan breakdown at the end. It is like so fucking hard, dude. Like when you hear it, it's one of those ones that just will give you like chills.
Yeah. And seeing them play that breakdown live, it was, I would say, one of the coolest things I've seen live. It's just, it hits you in the perfect way.
Yeah, like they're going after the riff in one tempo, and then they just completely change the time signature. And it's like, every time somebody would come, like one of my friends or whatever, I'd hear that part building up, and I'd be like, dude, you got to go in there and watch this part.
Yeah,
like,
that specific part. So sick. So sick.
Yeah,
but yeah, you guys should check out that band.
We were jamming
Sentinels
them hard
is awesome.
yesterday.
Great guys.
And then we got another one for you. This isn't like a super underground band or anything. It's a band that I've listened to for years. Lightning Bolt. Mm-hmm. And I've quoted the drummer as being one of my inspirations. Not because of his chops or technical prowess or whatever. It's just the guy's got sheer energy, and it's so cool. Stylized, really awesome. 2-piece band, bass and drums. Huge, like, I don't know, what would you say? Like rock, heavy rock with...
It's like really raw, like East Coasty rock. Some parts reminded me, I'm not super familiar with a ton of bands in that scene, but... Some parts reminded me of Yeah Yeah Yeahs.
I liked how you said that, because it's kind of like the Pixies or Yeah Yeah Yeahs.
Yeah.
On like the acid.
Yeah, totally, totally.
But it's heavy.
It's very like noisy.
Yeah.
Heavy. It's just really interesting. There were a lot of cool like parts where the drummer would break out, and it would all emphasis would be on the drums. It was super sick on that record.
Love them. I saw them. I don't know what year it was, but it was when my old band, first band, Animosity, we were recording out in Salem, with Kurt Ballou, and we took the train down into Brooklyn. I don't know how far of a ride that is, probably a couple hours, to go see Lightning Bolt because we heard they were playing. And Lightning Bolt, there was a regular show going on. They're like, yeah, we're not going to set up on the stage or use the PA. Fuck you guys. And they set up over in the corner.
There were other bands that played that night that were playing on this stage, and they just set up in the corner?
Yeah, other bands played and used the PA and had a sound guy and stuff. No, we're not doing it. We're setting up in the back. And that was like bold. And I thought that was so cool because, I'm kind of rebellious.
That is cool.
And then the drummer started playing, and it was just like, fuck, that's so heavy. And he wasn't even playing mic'd. And that's what's so awesome about the guy. So the show was ripping. I was like, at the end of the night, fully soaked. My shirt was I was in the pit. I got physical. I got involved. And it was just killer. I mean, I cried a little bit at the end.
Yeah.
I was doing like
it's one of those type of performances. Totally.
So awesome band. They have a new album out. It's called Sonic Citadel, and it's very much in vein with their other stuff, but honestly kind of better. Like the production's a little bit better, and it rips. And I don't think I think they might have did like a comeback thing. They haven't been active all those years. I don't know. I don't know what they've been up to. I know the drummer made a long time ago a song with Bjork.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're ripping it. Check both those out, and we're gonna try to get you guys good music to listen to every week.
Yeah.
If we can do it.
Yeah, definitely.
If we can keep up on our homework, right? And then we got a lot of good questions from y'all.
Yeah, thank you to you guys for sending in questions for us. It's you guys have asked a lot of really cool stuff, a lot of stuff that's in line with things we want to talk about. So,
totally.
Yeah, we're gonna take some questions. Naveen, do you want to go first?
No, I'll let you go. Ladies first.
Oh, thanks. All right, let's go with My Cousin Vinny. And this is an Instagram name. Obviously on Instagram, we don't see your actual name. So My Cousin Vinny says, question for both. Is there any kind of music you listen to now that you didn't expect to enjoy listening to when you were younger? And what got you into that kind of music?
Well, I think that's a good question because both of us really just don't care. We listen to all kinds of music. I've always been like that. I mean, when I was a kid, the first band that I liked a lot was UB40, reggae band, pop reggae, Not that I was ever into reggae hardcore. It's just, I usually just gravitate towards a couple of bands that are in a genre, and I'm always listening to all genres.
I do a similar thing. I mean, I just believe that in every genre there are at least a few bands worth listening to. There's something worth listening to in every kind of music that there is.
There has to be. Yeah, there has to be.
I'm the same way. I've never limited myself to listening to only one style of music. I mean, when I was a kid, I was absolutely obsessed with Destiny's Child, Shakira. The first CD I owned was Christina Aguilera. But now I think that the type of music that people would probably be most surprised that I listen to a lot is country music.
Definitely.
I listen to a ton of country music on tour, at home. My dad listened to a ton of country. Like the late 80s, early 90s stuff. Reba McEntire, George Strait, Garth Brooks, Brooks and Dunn, Alan Jackson.
Like pop country?
Yeah. It's not super folk country.
What's up with that like rap country stuff?
The new stuff?
What's that called?
I think that you just hit the nail on the head. Isn't it called like rap country? Well, I don't know.
When we were in Iowa last time and we were at that bar in Polk City, someone threw one of those country rap songs on the jukebox. I was totally feeling it.
Yeah, it was a pretty good song. I know I like it. It's like
I don't know which one it was.
Bad boy country music. I really liked it too.
I'm probably gonna get crucified for saying that, right?
And I really like that Old Town Road song. It's pretty catchy. I mean, I don't know. Whoa, I'm such a sucker for just catchy music. I like all kinds of music. I listen to country rap indie, folk. I'd listen to opera if there's something cool. I don't care at all.
I don't either. And the idea of, people ask. This has actually happened a lot if I ever do an interview for the band or for drumming. People will say, "Okay, what's your guilty pleasure band?" And it's like, I don't have a guilty pleasure.
I don't feel guilty about any kind of music that I listen to.
Exactly.
What is there to feel guilty about liking something?
There's not enough music that I genuinely love that for me to say, okay, I got to shun that whole style of music out.
Absolutely not. And I've known people before. It happens sometimes when people are super into death metal. Yeah. They strictly listen to death metal all the time.
Yeah,
and
death metal.
I really think that listening to all different kinds of music is what can make the things that you write different from other people.
Yeah,
because
give
naturally,
you that edge.
Yeah, naturally, if you're listening to one type of music and you play one type of music, then all of your riffs are going to come out probably sounding a lot similar, a lot like the stuff you're listening to.
Right. I mean, and that's why it's so cool to have a eclectic taste and have a wide range of stuff you listen to. Because for me, I make metal music, but my influences are like all over the place.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to tie into another question we have here. It's from Ian off the Facebooks. And he is asking us, how do we both differ in musical interest? And what are bands you feel that aren't properly received? I don't know what he means by that. Maybe he means they're not properly big enough,
they're
kind of
not
underrated.
as big as we think they should be.
So how do we differ in those musical tastes?
Well, I would say we do listen to different styles of music. Like I primarily listen to a lot of I don't know, I would say stuff that's in like the post hardcore vein. Is that what you think?
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like modern grunge.
Yeah.
That's what I would call it.
Yeah. I would say the same. It's highly inspired by grunge and that alternative and that kind of movement. I mean, I listen to bands like what I've been listening to a lot lately, which I brought up in the last episode, is Emma Ruth Rundle, On Dark Horses, Some Heavy Ocean. Both of those albums I've just been pretty much have had on repeat. Mm-hmm. The new Chelsea Wolf is amazing. Love
Jenny
that
likes
record.
music that's depressing.
Yeah, I think you said this a few weeks ago. I like moody music.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really moody, and I like drony music as well.
Shoegazy, is it called?
Shoegazy, yeah, probably. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the time when I put music on, or one time we were driving somewhere with my family and they told us to put music on, and I put on something that I enjoyed, and everyone told me that they felt like they were going to fall asleep. So that's kind of, but I listen to everything, yeah. But that I think I would say is the one genre of music that I listen to a lot that isn't really your thing.
Right. And I think I like everything that Cheney listens to. I don't think there's anything that either of us listens to that we like, can't stand.
Yeah, like I can't believe he listens to.
Right. So we appreciate all the stuff that we listen to differently from each other. And I think when it comes to metal, we're pretty much spot on. That's
yeah, when it comes to metal, we listen to a ton of the same stuff. I mean, we would probably name I'm sure there are a few albums that are off, but yeah. I would say 2 albums that we both highly agree on being in the top 10 are Destroy the Opposition by Dying Fetus and Soul Niger Within, Frederick Thorndahl's Special Defects.
Whoa.
Those are 2 of the best metal records, undisputed, on both of our lists. Right?
Now, when you talk about stuff being kind of not well received and a little bit underground, I guess you could say, I meet so many people who haven't heard Soul Niger Within.
Yeah, and
it's crazy.
We should clarify.
Yeah. Soul
Niger Within is Frederick Thorndahl, the guitar player of Meshuggah's side project. He made one record.
Yep.
It's really his solo project. right? And
Yep, it is.
But Morgan Ogren played drums on it. And I believe Frederick Thorndahl did the vocals. His wife did some of the vocals on it as well. It's
Well, we weren't sure who did the vocals. We think it's a made-up name.
Yeah, we aren't sure because there's a name on the Wikipedia. I can't remember. I want to say it's Marcus something.
Person.
Marcus Person.
That's such a fake
which,
name,
yeah,
dude.
sounds like a fake name. But Morgan Ogren, the amazing drummer, Matt Morgan.
One of my favorite drummers, by the way.
Yeah, he's amazing. He was at NAMM last year, and you asked him, or I asked him, who did vocals on Soul Niger Within, and he couldn't really remember, but he said that he thinks Frederick Thorndahl did it.
I mean, he was such like a kickback guy. Like, he was super low key, and that guy's been like huge idol of mine for a long time. His band, Matt's Morgan band, and him playing on Soul Niger, that had such a huge impact on me. I mean, seriously, when I first heard that, my life has never been the same in terms of music. And every 5 years or whatever, 2 years, you gotta give that album a serious listening to make sure that you're on the right path, because it'll expose you. You know, you listen to it, and sometimes I'll be like, all right, yeah, what I'm making right now sucks, and I'm a poser.
I feel like it's coming around to that point for me. I don't think I've listened to the record for about a year.
I was jamming it in the gym the other day.
Oh, man.
And I was getting
That's caffeine.
Woo!
It's caffeine. Pure caffeine.
I was like, it was getting raw in there.
I also want to mention, I think Morgan Ogren was on Devin Townsend's new album.
He was.
Yeah.
He was.
One of the three drummers, which shout out to Anoop, who's a dear friend of ours and an amazing drummer.
Great guy.
Yeah.
And so I saw, I think my brother saw him, right? He was like, is that Morgan Ogren over there?
Yeah.
He's at that booth.
And your brother was very proactive about going up and asking him a lot of questions.
Well, because I was like, I didn't even want to do it. I was like scared.
I wouldn't have done it either. Yeah. I am not into going up to people that I look up to. It's very rare. I still regret to this day. We saw Fred Armisen live do his for drummers only stand up last year, and he was doing a meet and greet after the show.
And I was like, let's go get a picture.
I still regret that. I'm such a huge Fred Armisen fan. Portlandia, in my opinion, is one of the most genius television
you
shows.
Just glazed over something that we should talk about. We went to that freaking thing.
Yeah, we were on the...
We're in it. We're in the Netflix
I mean, we're not in it.
We're in it.
We're in it for a split second. We were at the taping of a Netflix special, his Netflix special. We had no idea that that's what we were going to.
Yeah.
We had no idea it was a Netflix taping. Our neighbor... How did we stumble upon this? Our neighbor was providing cymbals for the show.
Yeah. So, if you've seen a few of my playthroughs from like a year or two ago, the older ones, I'm in a studio. It's got the John Coltrane poster on there.
Yeah, we did a playthrough together in that room.
We did a playthrough in there. That's our neighbor's drum studio. He gives lessons for a living.
Shout out to Zach.
Shout out Zach Olson. What's up, Zach Olson Drum Studio? Great guy.
Yeah.
So he would let me jam in there on the weekends because I didn't have a place to play. Get that. And so we became friends and stuff. And I showed him my work, if you will. And he kind of found out about me through that. And Fred Armisen's doing this thing, right? So, but he didn't spin it like that. Because I think Virgil Donati was there. Is that who was there?
No, it was, what is his name? Oh, Thomas Lang.
Thomas Lang. So he said, oh, Naveen, Thomas Lang is doing this show up in the city. But Meinl, like, he couldn't get his cymbals in time or whatever. He's like, I know you play Meinl cymbals. Do you have some that you could lend to him? I'm like, of course, no problem. What do you need? He texts me what he needed, and I go over to his house, and I hand him the cymbals, and then I see that he's got his laminate because he's working the show. He's like providing the gear. Zach also provides musicians with gear when they come here at the local jazz club. And I'm like, it's got Fred Armisen's picture on it. I'm like, what? Is this like a Fred Armisen show? And he was like, yeah, he's doing like a comedy show. And he asked, like, it's like drummer comedy. And he asked Thomas Lang to play. And I was like, what, dude? Can I go? Like, Cheney's a huge fan.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, of course. And so we go up there that night, right? And it looked kind of crowded. So we were like, all right, let's go get a beer down the street and like just wait for this crowd to die down a little bit. So then we come back and everyone's in there, everyone's seated, and we walk in. And there's like cameras everywhere.
Yeah, we are the last people to walk in. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, because we're thinking show, get there whenever you want.
Yeah. So we walk in and we realize what's going on. There are cameras everywhere. There are like 5 drum kits set up down the aisle. And we walk around the outside and take our seats, and it ends up being the For Drummers Only Fred Armisen comedy special on Netflix.
And I remember whispering to you, I was like, Jenny, I think we're in a Netflix special.
Yeah. We weren't totally sure, but I think he brought it up at some point in the show or someone
I saw
came
someone's when they gave us the laminates, it had a little Netflix logo on it.
Okay.
And I was like, holy cow.
You know what I heard from people since then is that you had to do like a paradiddle
to get in.
Yeah. So we missed the paradiddle part and we saw the special. So if you watch that, Naveen's cymbals are in the special.
And we're in it too. You can see us at one point for about 1 second.
I think you can hear you laughing too.
I've heard that you can hear me laugh.
Yeah, rumor
has it, that distinct, funny Copperweiss laugh.
Yeah. So that was great. That's a really funny special. Watch it.
Somehow we got from Soul Niger to that, but back to being at NAMM. My brother Sean, he's like, that's Morgan Agron over there. Let's go talk to him, you know. And I'm because you said Fred Armisen, you wished you had met him. Yeah. So I'm the same way. I'm like, no, dude, I'm going to look like an idiot in front of that guy. I love him. You know, no way. So I go up and say hi real quick. I'm just like, hey man, huge fan, dude. I've like messaged you on Facebook a couple times. You know, I'm like, I used to be in Animals. You know, just I don't know what to say. Yeah. I said hi for a couple, 30 seconds, and then went away. But my brother was like, I'm going back over there. Like, he's chill. I'm going to go talk to him for a while. Yeah. So he was talking to him for a while, and then both you and I went back over and started just chatting him up, you know, and the fact that Sean and I knew all of his old work, he was like, whoa, these guys like know me. You know, I think he had kind of like a reverse feeling than I did.
Yeah, well, I think he was working for a company there.
He was working for a microphone company.
He also gave Sean a copy of a Mats Morgan album.
It was like the Mats Morgan box set deluxe CD.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah.
What a fantastic fellow that guy was.
Because we were like, we love Mats Morgan Band. And we were bringing up all kinds of old albums and stuff that I'm sure nobody's heard.
You know, you're always scared too when you meet someone who you look up to like that. Well, what if they're not nice? I think that's what sometimes scares me about going up to them. I don't want to, I guess, minion out on them too hard and make them think that I'm, you know, you never know how people are going to receive you, but he was just such a fantastic guy. It made me even more of a fan of him.
And it's also because I get it, you know, because sometimes people do it to us, not trying to sound like a rock star or anything, but people do, the music means something to them, you know, and I totally get that. So you want to go up to them and you want to somehow let them know what they've done for you.
Absolutely.
Like how much of an impact they've had. And it's, you just can't even find like the words for that. Yeah. Maybe write a letter and give it to them or something.
Also, funny story about us seeing Morgan at NAMM. Later that night, we were at a party.
Oh, damn.
I can't remember what party it was. It was a guitar company.
It's that one that I can never say. Mayonnaise or whatever. Is it mayonnaise? It was mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise?
Mayonnaise? I don't know. I call it mayonnaise. That's what I call it.
Perhaps. I can't remember if it was that company.
Shout out to Mayonnaise Guitars. What's up? Get some.
I'm not certain that it was that company, but we were at...
Okay. It was one of those nice boutique
Yeah, it was
guitar
totally.
companies.
But we were at the party, and Morgan got on stage with a guitar player and the bassist of Dirty Loops.
Yep.
And the guitar player started playing the medley, the Soul Niger Within medley.
Yeah, so a little backstory there. So whoever hasn't heard Soul Niger, first of all, stop the podcast, go listen to it, and come back.
Please.
But I'll wait. Oh, that was awesome, right? Life changed? Killer. Welcome. So one of the things that people have heard is there's this YouTube video of Frederick and Morgan just straight jamming out.
Right.
And
that was what I heard.
Everyone heard that first.
Before I actually heard the record.
First. Definitely,
yeah.
Me too. And so that's almost like a song in and of itself. It's the medley. And this guitar player knew how to play it. And Morgan is such a down-to-earth guy that he just went up to him and he was like, "Yo, Morgan, will you play that medley with me?" You know, and who knows when the last time he played it was. And our friend Justin McKinney,
shout out to Justin, without Justin,
we would have missed it.
Grabbing everyone or texting everyone and saying,
he texted Zach. We were hanging out with Zach Oren.
Yeah.
Shout out to Zach Oren.
But without Justin texting Zach on that fateful night and us being there, we would have missed it. We would have missed it. It was amazing. I think if you scroll back on my Instagram, I think I have a video up of it.
And then after that, bass player of Dirty Loops got up there and they did like a little jam out. That was the best thing that's ever happened by 10,000x at NAMM.
Oh, that will keep me going back to NAMM every year.
Because that was the year before last.
Yeah, if something like that is capable of happening at NAMM, I'll go every year for the rest of my life.
Shit, I've already saw freaking Soul Niger.
I know.
It's not going to happen again.
So nothing's going to live up to it.
So Soul Niger, definitely a killer album. You've already heard it, obviously, because you paused the podcast and you went and listened to it.
But yeah, that's a record that you and I have in common. But what are some things that you listen to that I wouldn't necessarily jam?
Yeah, so I tend to go, I listen to a lot of darker electronic music. So I'm listening to a lot of heavier drum and bass, Face, Billin, that kind of stuff. I like that stuff a lot. But right now, honestly, everyone's going to probably kill me for this. I'm like a Spotify playlist guy. I just like jam playlists.
I know a lot of people say that Spotify can't pick out a really good playlist for them.
I don't need to find music anymore. It's really terrible. I'm getting so lazy. I just throw it on, like Face Radio or whatever whatever I'm into. I'll just listen to the radio station, and it just rapid fires. I like everything.
Yeah, a lot of the time I will go to related artists of people who I'm really into as well. I found one of my favorite records of all time that I still listen to on an almost weekly basis that I have for the last 2 or 3 years. It's Reflections in Real Time by Kilo Quiche. It's, I don't know, it's like a low-key R&B-ish type album. That album has changed my life. I've listened to it 1,000 times, no joke, and I found it through related artists. I think I was looking at, I don't even know, SZA's related artists or something like that, right, and found Kilo Quiche. And so for that reason, I will constantly look through related artists. Whenever they curate a daily playlist for me, I find it to be pretty good.
Yeah, and I'll save a lot of the stuff onto my library.
Totally.
Whatever. But yeah, I like stuff like that, and then I also go sort of musician-y than Cheney will at times. Like, I'm a huge Dirty Loops fan. I like Jacob Collier. It's probably one of my favorite artists.
Is it Collier or Collier?
I don't know.
Me either.
I'm American, so I say it like that.
Yeah, Collier.
But that dude, whoa! If I had 1/100th the talent of that guy, I'd be set.
I think he's fantastic. For the record, it's not something that I would listen to all the time, but I think his voice is beautiful.
Yeah. It's the same that the stuff that you listen to. Like, I think it's great. It's just like I'm not going to listen to it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love when you put all that music on, and that's what's cool. I think we have a respect for what each other listen to, and we're happy to hear it when it comes on.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we,
and another album that we actually have another band that we have mega in common. Both of our we have the same favorite band.
Do you think they're your favorite band?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Easy.
Which is before. First of all, the band is Air that we're talking about.
French duo they have a live band.
Yeah, they bring a band. I was really surprised when you knew who Air were.
Yeah.
Because no one that I know knew about that band.
Definitely.
And they've been my favorite band since I was a teenager because they wrote the entire soundtrack for the Virgin Suicides. They have a song on 10 Things I Hate About You. They're kind of like a soundtracky type band. It reminds me of what's the name of that movie? Fantastic Planet. It reminds me of the Fantastic Planet.
You should go see that if you haven't seen it.
Soundtrack.
Also, it's a freaking killer movie.
Yeah, and an amazing soundtrack.
And it sounds
Gorgeous
honestly
soundtrack.
that soundtrack. It's like it could be Air.
They
sound
Air.
like trippy 70s psychedelic rock, but pop. They managed to do that, and they have like these really dark chord progressions, and it's my favorite. Just I love their chord progressions so much because it's so them. You just even if it came on Spotify and I'd never even heard the song before, if it was like some song I never heard or a new song, I'd be like, that's Air. No,
absolutely, yeah, it's so easy. And we got to see Air live last year, and you were talking...
I never thought I would see them. Seriously.
Neither did I.
That was not even on my radar
I was
at all.
pretty convinced that wasn't going to happen. And I found out about the show that they were playing in San Francisco, which is about 2 hours north of us. Just by looking online one day, I saw that they were going to be here that night. And I called you, and I think tickets were $120 or something for the both of us. And I was just like, we're spending this money right now. You were working in San Francisco that day, and I was at home. So we met halfway, which is really kind of a bitch.
Oh, it was a pain. But we were like, we
city.
have to go to this show.
But to see Air, so yeah, we went to the show that night on a few hours notice, and seeing Air, that's a band that when they came on stage that night, I started crying.
I was just starstruck. I was like, yes.
Oh, man.
Freaking Air.
I just can't describe the feeling of seeing your favorite band live. And the older I get, the more I feel like I only want to see bands live who I really, really love.
Seriously.
Because we're on tour a lot. We see bands live every night. And I love watching bands live, but to go and drive 2 hours to see a show, pay all the money.
Those kind of shows are not, $20 like a metal show. It's like you got to pay ticket price to get in there.
A ton of money.
But they played also like a killer, just classic song first.
Yeah.
And I recommend checking out Talkie Walkie, the album.
Check out the whole discography, really.
But if you need somewhere to start, that's where I started. That was the first one I heard.
There's also a short film on Netflix called A Trip to the Moon. I think it's La Voyage de Las Lunes.
Oh, shit. Working on your French, huh?
My French is horrible.
I like when you say my Spanish. Like, I don't have Spanish.
I can't say, what is that?
My.
What's the French word that Beyond Creation and Gorod taught me? It was the only thing I was saying.
Tabernacle.
Tabernacle. So that was the only French saying I knew when I got to France last year.
Shout out to Beyond Creation.
Yeah, shout out to those. And Gorod. Love you guys.
This is the shout out show. We're going to do 8,000.
Welcome to the KoperCrabb shout out cast.
Let's just print out a list and just
of shout outs.
Shout out. Well, we'll
kind of
could
for
do
an
that.
Hour straight.
We could say, just write down a bunch of names and just tell stuff that has to do with each.
Tell a story
shout
about them.
Out. Maybe we'll do it.
Special shout out show. But yeah, check out Air. Check out the whole podcast. Oh, I was saying there's a short film called A Trip to the Moon. It's a French film. One of the first films ever made, silent. I think it's from 1901, 1902, and
actually one of the first movies.
Actually one of the first films ever made. But Air remade or made a soundtrack to the movie. It's all up on Netflix. Check it out right now. Maybe smoke a little weed and watch it because it's super cool and super trippy.
They've had to pause the show to listen to Soul Niger.
Now you're gonna go.
Are you recommending a pause, or are you recommending they watch it after?
Watch it later. I feel like it's a nighttime watch. Yeah, don't pause
pausing.
on your way to work if you're listening to this on your way to work or something. Don't.
Because you already paused to listen to Soul Niger, and that fucker's like an hour long.
Yeah. So we're 3 hours in at this point. But anyway, do you want to get to another question?
Yeah, that reminded me of a question, and that is, a lot of people have been asking, if no one in specific, because we got a bunch of these, are we going to have guests, and who's the first guest going to be?
Yeah. Well, the answer is yes, we are going to have guests.
Yeah, definitely.
We don't want the whole podcast to revolve around having guests.
Right.
But we've been talking about bringing in some cool people. We have
also
really
some
cool ideas.
Some big names been hitting us up, if you will.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to bring some people on. We have one prerequisite, I think, which is that we want them to be here.
Yeah.
We don't want to do Skype interviews. We want it to be a real life thing, people to come to our house and hang out and get to the nitty gritty.
Yeah. So we're sort of just building, we're trying to build a thing first that is standalone, and then we'll get the guests to come on.
Yeah, we're going to have guests.
Maybe a better studio.
Yeah. We don't know who the first guest will be. We'll figure it out soon, I'm sure. But yeah, we're really excited. You know, this is only our second week of the podcast, and we're kind of figuring things out as they come.
Obviously I am. People are going to...
Yeah, because we still can't figure out that camera.
Fucking, let me check it out real quick. Look at this.
No worries.
Wait, it's back.
It's
back. No, it's good. It's good to go. I think it just was lagging for... Well, wait a minute.
Oh, here it goes.
I don't know. Maybe it'll be back. Maybe not. I'll just flash it every once in a while. Fuck it. And also, I realized off the last episode that your boy mumbles all the time. So...
Well, now that we have these headphones, it's almost like when you go from... having no in-ears on stage to wearing in-ears. That's the difference that these headphones make.
Oh shit, I play sloppy. I gotta fucking clean my act up.
Exactly. And I talk too quietly
but then it can have an adverse effect because I'm getting a bit of like a radio announcer thing going on because you can hear yourself so well. So, you know, I'm like...
You start to over-edit.
I know, and I sound like an FM radio kind of DJ, you know, like the cooter.
When you were practicing earlier in your headphones, you sounded a lot more like the cooter.
How's it going, everybody? Naveen Copperweiss here.
Yeah,
but it's also way too fun. It's like addicting. I want to go that route.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but for 10 or 15 minutes before we started doing this, I was just talking into the headphones and into the microphone, but you were across the room and you had no headphones on, but I was just talking like this because it's fun to listen to yourself speak.
But I think it'll help clean things up a little bit.
Totally, yeah. So thanks again, Direct Sound. Check them out.
Maybe we might need to get a few more pairs if we're going to have guests.
Yeah.
So, Direct Sound, what's up? Get some. I use these to jam with too, though. These are actually the drummer version. I had got these already, these drummer headphones, and they rip.
Oh, these are specifically drummer headphones?
These are the sound isolation drummer headphones. And I like, seriously, if you're trying to get that ISO, I always use these in the studio now that I got them, and it's so much better.
Oh, that's awesome.
So much better.
I was thinking these would be fantastic to take on a flight as well. If there was a baby next to or a very talkative person...
Babies love
annoying next to me, people. You know, I think that on the last flight we were on, maybe there was a baby, but I never really get plagued by the baby too
also,
hard.
my thing is I don't really blame them. You know, I'm like, fuck, flying does suck. If I had no restraint, I'd probably do what the baby
probably
was
bawl,
just start crying. It sucks.
I
it's
also
boring.
feel really terrible for the parents. You know,
I know. They're just like, he's crying.
They know the baby's crying, and I feel like a lot of people have a tendency to get pissed off at the parents because why would you bring a baby on a plane or any other thing like that? But that poor parent, man, they've been up all night with the baby crying. Do you think they want to be here?
I know.
Probably fucking not.
There is sort of a reverse to that, though. You know, when a baby's crying in public and they could remove the baby, but they're kind of like, get some of this baby.
They're making everyone else suffer.
They're probably not doing that. I have no idea. I'm, ignorant.
Yeah, it's easy to say when you have no baby to worry about.
People with kids are just like, these
you
people
assholes.
Suck. You have no freaking clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure. I can't imagine being a new parent. That would blow.
Well, maybe we'll find out.
I hope you guys are getting sleep out there. I'm sure the babies are great.
Shout out to my parents out there, you know.
Yeah. Shout out to my parents too, because with that. Yeah, we were probably both loud babies, if it's anything like what we're like as adults.
Our parents watched the show too, by the way, which is a little weird.
I think my whole family watched the show. Thank you guys. Love you.
No,
Thanks
we love that they watched
y'all.
it. That's another thing about making the show. You didn't. I never thought that like your family would be watching the show.
No,
you know what I mean?
not at all. Never thought about that.
It's just funny. It's great to see it develop.
Yeah, it's
Seriously.
really cool.
So we got some more cues here from the interwebs.
Yeah, let's see. Okay. You know what? Let's do these touring questions first, and then we'll go specifically into the band questions. So.
Oh, yeah.
Patrick asks, do you all own the van you tour in, or do you rent one? If you do own one, did the band buy it, or did an individual member buy it? Thank you.
Good question.
Yeah, right? Great question.
Yeah. So I think transportation on tour is something that I see as people's main drain. Like, people spend so much money on that crap.
So much money.
Like,
it's
if you're
very
renting, when you rent, even just renting a van, it's $6,000 or $7,000 a tour. If it's $150 a day, which it definitely is.
I think it's $150 a day.
Yeah,
I don't know specifics because, the answer to that question is that we own the van. The band owns the van. For our first record, we were on a label. We got an advance, and we used a part of that advance to put a down payment on a van.
Yeah.
I realize that's not what everyone can do.
Right.
I would definitely, if you're asking for our advice, I would say buy a van.
I would say, yeah, if you wanted going back and thinking about it, well, I think in the last podcast we kind of mentioned that you and I sort of changed up our financial game just by starting to pay attention and being aware of the money that comes in and the money that goes out. And a great tool to help you do that is an app that we use called Every Dollar. And it's just a budgeting app, and it's a great way for, even if you don't make a whole ton of money, what you think is a lot of money, you can allocate that money really, I can't think of the word, but you can allocate it and do a good job with what you have. So what I would say is save up each of you people in the band for a couple of months, pool the money together, and buy something. And that way it's paid for, because even though we did something that was cheaper than renting, which is making monthly payments, it's still a monthly payment that has to get made, you know? And I think probably later this week, Shane and I are just going to eliminate that. We're going to take care of, just finish paying the van off. And so we have that paid outright. And now whatever money is coming from online sales and that, we can free up our income to do other stuff with it.
Right.
But that's definitely, I understand that that's sort of a longer upfront thing to do. And I find that the more stuff we do like that, the better off we get. When we say, all right, you know what, we're going to do the work up front. We're going to pay for the merch up front. We're not going to take that much money this tour because we want to pay back all this mess that we created in the past. These little things here and there. And the more you can do that, the more less that you owe and the less you have going out every month, the more you can keep and allocate wisely to doing whatever you want to do, whether you want to save or you want to pay for more stuff up front, invest in the band.
I don't necessarily agree with you that every member should save up and pay for a band, because I do think that sometimes in bands, when the whole band goes in on a thing like a van that is owned, it can become messy if members leave.
Yeah, absolutely.
What happened in our band, the whole band paid for the van from the beginning, but because it was off of the band's money, it stayed. We have the van in our possession now because we don't have the same lineup as when our band started. Right. So technically now you and I are the only members left who initially paid for the van. Yeah. And now I think it's been easier for us to have the van with us. We use the income from the band to pay the van payment. Yeah. but
we want to free up that income. We want to
Yeah.
have the least amount going out and the most amount coming in.
Right.
And that's what you got to start doing if you want to make any money in doing this thing.
Yeah.
In our opinion. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's other ways to do it. I'm sure a lot of people
there
have.
are other ways, and
the-
everyone
yeah.
everyone has a different circumstance as to what happens with their money and all of that type
Exactly.
of stuff.
But a good thing to do, and that obviously this is another thing that people don't talk about, dirty little secret, if you will. Talk about the money. Talk about who's going to get what. Talk about who's responsible for this, who's responsible for that. Make an agreement. And that way you can actually start making a plan. And that's the most important thing, is paying attention. Not just doing the thing like that cartoon where it's like a Bugs Bunny cartoon. They're putting down the railroad track as the train's going. You know, that's, you don't want to be that. We want to lay the track out, and then we can get there.
And I think the best thing to do, you know, being in a band is a relationship. The best thing to do with all of the money is to be crystal clear on everything that is going to happen with the finances. And
something that we're still learning. Obviously, we're not experts. We're just trying to tell you guys this because we're figuring it.
Yeah, we're absolutely not experts. But what has worked the best in our band is just for everyone to be completely upfront and honest, and everyone knows everything that's going on.
Exactly.
There are no secrets. There's
in every aspect. In every aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, this brings me into another question, because a few people have asked this question, and I totally understand why it's really interesting to people, because we're in a relationship with each other and we're in a band together. I don't know how people have reacted to this with you, but I've had people ask me how I do it. I could never be in a band with or I could never work with my significant others.
I
So
couldn't go on tour with my spouse.
Yeah. So Rudy asked, has it been hard being in a relationship and being bandmates? Which, totally good question.
Great question.
Because
we
ahead.
sort of talked about, we were kind of chatting about this after we got this question, and looking back on it, it's been very little cons and pretty much just pros.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean,
what's the con? Like,
I don't know. Yeah.
Getting into like a little fight here and there on tour. So what? That
or
happens
like
with
disagreeing.
anybody.
That happens with any person you're going to be in a band with ever. You're going to disagree.
Totally.
And you're going to have to reasonably come to an agreement between two people. And it's the same in being in a relationship or anything like that. So I think that us being in a relationship with each other, like I just said, we're the only two original members of our band now. It's created a really solid foundation, I think, in our band, because we kind of touched on this in the last episode. Both of us really build off of each other. We complement each other very well. We have different strengths.
You're fill in the gaps.
Yeah. You're very into the tech side of things. That's all you handle. Right. I mean, I can't count how many technical aspects of Entheos you handle. You program our lights. You do all of those. If all of our in-ears, all of our mixes, anything, you're the guy in our band
resident
who figured.
IT.
You're resident IT all the way. I mean, yesterday you soldered something.
Yeah.
So that we could
Busted
hear
out.
something better.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of your role on top of writing music.
Didn't choose that role, by the way. Just fell on me.
Yeah, but when you know about all of that stuff and you're really good at it, you end up being that person.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of the other stuff. I handle a lot of the artistic, as far as visual art goes.
Yeah.
I write lyrics. I write all of the lyrics. I know that was a question from someone too. I can't remember. Yes, I do write all of the lyrics in the band. That's my thing. That's always been something that I've wanted to do in a band, have complete lyrical control, because writing lyrics means so much to me. Writing poetry is something that I do all the time. But anyway, we really complement each other.
And not even just with that, we keep each other going.
Absolutely. If we're going through, because as with any artistic endeavor, there are points, as we were talking about at the beginning of this episode, where there are going to be lows. There are going to be highs, lows, middle of the road type deals. And sometimes you're going to question whether or not you think you made the right choice. And to be in a band with your significant other, with someone who you work really well together.
And you're around them a lot.
And you're around them a lot. If you get in that kind of mode, or what's worked out with us, if one of us is in that type of mood, the other person is not.
Exactly.
And the other person is always there to counteract that situation and really build the other person up.
Yeah.
And it's happened a lot. I mean, we're not down on our band a lot or anything like that, but you do get in moods like that.
Yeah, and exactly like what you just said, if one of us, if there's a certain aspect that's just not going right, well, the other one can be like, hey, it's not going to be that big a deal. We're just going to keep going. We're going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And another thing that most people don't get to experience is usually when they go home from a tour, they don't talk about the band very much once they get home.
Yeah,
because they're home. And with us, we get home and it's like the first thing, like, okay, what's next? What are we doing?
Yeah, and we talk about cool new aspects of the band all the time. We're constantly thinking about the music, what we're going to do next, what's our next move. We're thinking about all of that stuff all the time. And also, there have been a lot of really awesome things that we've experienced together in this band that...
You can't not talk about the fact that we've had, like, a free honeymoon
for 5 years. Yeah. We've done, I think, 12 tours together at this point. We've done a European tour.
That went to what, like 10 countries? I mean,
yeah, we've gone to Mexico. And that's really cool because if I was experiencing that on my own in a band, while it would still be incredible to have my best friend and my partner there to experience it all with, and that we have built this together. We have been in this band since it started. It was just like...
We started the band.
Yeah. And to see all of this come to fruition has been an incredible experience. And to be able to do it with you has been made it even better. Yeah.
And also having that when you're on tour and it really sucks and stuff's not going that right, I'm like, well, fuck, I'm hanging out with Cheney, so it's whatever. Let's go to Chili's or whatever.
Yeah. There have been days where, we've been kind of bummed or something on tour and we just went out to a really cool lunch.
So I've always felt sort of like, not guilty, but almost like different from other people. And it's a little easier for me in a way when we go on tour because I'm not dealing with that.
Right.
So I think a lot of people think of the potential negatives, but just the way that you and I, like, our relationship is structured. It has been. It's just a plus.
Well, you have to think being in a relationship and being the sole person who goes on tour while your partner stays at home is very, very hard.
It's tough, man.
I see so many friends go through rough patches in their relationships because they're gone for a month. When you are gone for a month, you can talk on the phone and you can hang out virtually and you can come and have your girlfriend or boyfriend visit you on the road or whatever, but you're living a very different life.
Yeah.
Being on tour is very different than being at home. And it's not something that if your partner doesn't experience it with you, that it's weird to talk about because there are so many things that happen on tour, like you get a new saying, you have a joke going on tour that you and I can take home with us, and our bandmates and other people can't really take that home with us or home with them. And when we are considering going on tour and things like that, I feel like you and I we always have acknowledged that it's very easy for us to disconnect from our home life.
Definitely.
Because we aren't leaving our loved one at home. We get to go have all of these experiences together, and because of that, we are really mindful of the things that we do or of everyone else's feelings in the band. And we do sometimes take on more responsibility with driving home from tour.
Okay, you guys are going to fly home. We're going to drive home from the East Coast. It's going to take us fucking 4 extra days.
Okay. But it's fine for us because we're hanging out together and we're not sacrificing time with...
And we eat at all kinds of crazy restaurants.
And we eat at the best restaurants. And, so it's been a really awesome experience. And...
I've only see the positives. It's just been great. I love it.
It's been fantastic, and it gets better all the time.
But I get that it wouldn't work with everybody, and that's cool too.
Absolutely.
Everyone's different.
Yeah.
You know? So,
very.
having said that,
having said that, let's dive into these Entheos questions because we have a few. I think it's your turn.
my go.
Yeah.
Well, you had been talking about being excited for what the future of the band holds. So I think we're going to move into Maori Main 2 on Instagram. Shout out to Maori Main. Update on new Entheos material. And then he stuck one of my favorite emojis, little purple devil horn guy.
And he's smiling. I like that one too.
I use that one a lot. That's
Me
like
too.
if I'm going to drink a beer during
It's
the week.
naughty. It's the naughty emoji.
It's like Cheney's getting donuts.
Yeah. Yeah, so we are writing new Entheos material right now, my friend.
Yeah, buddy.
We've been writing for a minute. By a minute, I mean a couple of months.
Yeah. It's going really well.
It's going really well. We're really, really stoked about the material that is happening.
It's something new and it's something big, I got to tell you.
Yeah, it's really cool. Right now, we've got about 20 minutes worth of material. We're starting to track vocals. Demo vocals, not officially track them, but
yeah, we got demo drums, demo guitar locked down, and we feel like it's sort of at a point where it's really cool, and we want to, before we go further with that, we want to start getting into the vocals because we want to spend a little more time with the vocals on this one. I think on previous releases, I mean, obviously we were very satisfied with the vocals, but we just think we could spend a little more time with it and not make it such a, this is going to sound like negative, but an afterthought. You know, it's like we'll get everything done and then it's like, well, shit, now it's so dense. Where do the vocals fit in?
Yeah, and then we throw vocals on top of it. And I actually think that this fits pretty well with this first question that we have, which is from Dystopian Web. And
Cool name, by the
he
way.
or she
like
says, when writing music for Entheos, do you have any preconceived ideas of what the song structure will be or what a song is going to sound like? So for this new record, in reference to the new record, what we want to do is, I guess, make it a little more vocal-centric.
Definitely.
And so what we're going to do is go through, write vocals, and produce the music that we have, go through production with the music that we have around vocals.
Yeah. It's more just with the layering aspect, and then also if Cheney does, our music's very dense, so if she was to do something that was really cool over a riff and it kind of changed the vibe of the song, well, it's like, well, maybe we need to rearrange the song a little bit. And if we're getting to vocals when like the drums are already tracked, it's harder to do that.
Yeah, because we just by the nature of our band, we like to have parts where each individual member will kind of bust out and do their own thing. And there have been parts in the past where there will be like a bass thing going on that people should be paying attention to, but there are vocals over it.
Exactly.
Or with guitar or drums. Yeah. And so we're trying to get better at like going through and producing our own music.
So not even just with the vocals, it's with everything.
It's with everything. Yeah, we want it to just sound better. We're just trying to improve it. And
just trying to get better, you know?
Yeah, we're just trying to get better, but we're really excited about this music that we have. We're still trying to decide if it's going to be an EP or a full length, and I think we'll figure that out as it comes. We're just kind of letting it write itself.
Absolutely.
And it has so far, and it's turning out awesome. And we're going to be self-releasing this next thing.
Divulge.
Yeah, so going back to that how to support our band. If you buy merch or do anything like that, it's all going to go toward our next album.
Yeah, we're not doing like a Kickstarter or any of that stuff. we're just running this thing as we always do, but we are going to be self-releasing. We got these super, super sick, dark future 80s sci-fi horror movie posters. This is in celebration of Halloween.
Yes.
And Cheney's been watching a lot of old horror, so she came up with this idea for a poster. And we have it on shirts too.
Yeah, right? We have it on shirts too. Our friend Ben Oram at We Need Merch is printing the shirts. We haven't picked them up yet, so that's why we don't have one to show you.
We will have them picked up, and I'll flash one on the next episode for you guys. But yeah, if you guys want to pick up a poster or whatever, we are a self-run organization, and if you support this stuff, you support us straight up.
Absolutely.
And people have been doing it. People have been buying these things like hotcakes, flapjacks, if you will. And we really appreciate everybody who has already picked one up.
Yeah,
Seriously,
thank you guys so much. I want to. Dystopian Web had a little bit more to his or her question. So, for example, were the alien vocals an idea that we were wanting to see through to fruition, or was it a sound that we stumbled on while recording? Also, when writing, when do you determine when a song is done? So, as for the alien vocals, some people like to call them digi-witch vocals, whatever you want to call them.
Digital witch.
I call them
Mike
vocoder vocals.
Mike coined that one. Our sound guy, Mike Torres. Shout out to Mike Torres.
No, actually, I think Anthony Corsino, a fan of ours from...
Really?
I think he may have come up with that.
I thought Mike got it.
I don't think so. But who knows?
Shout out to both those guys.
Shout out to both y'all. Fight over it. So, as for the vocoder vocals, I'm a huge fan of vocoder type vocals, affected vocals. In talking about Soul Niger, there are those kind of vocals on that. I'm a huge fan of Karen Dreyer Anderson, who is the vocalist of Fever Ray, the mastermind between The Knife. Or I said that backwards. She is the vocalist of The Knife, the mastermind behind Fever Ray.
There you go.
And she's very into affected vocals. Yeah. I've been listening to her music since I was a teenager. That's huge for me. But I always wanted to have some kind of affected vocal on Entheos material.
Definitely. That was something that we definitely
I've wanted that since the beginning. Yeah. So just didn't make it happen on the first two releases, really. Naveen started getting really into Eurorack synth.
Different filters and distortions and stuff. So
yeah,
I came up with this. A lot of people actually ask what that effect is, and you can make it really easily. It's just an auto filter with the filtering turned up really fast. So it's kind of like when you talk into a fan, if you just imagine each blade is a filter, right? And that's what it is. And it's got some distortion on there, some EQ.
Yeah, so that's what we did on the record. And live, what I'm doing, I use a pedal to switch back and forth to that. But what I'm really doing is my pedal is just an A/B switch, and we're running it through Ableton. And
I made the effect in Ableton. Maybe I'll throw that up for you guys.
Yeah, Naveen made the effect in Ableton, and one line is my regular mic and one line is an affected mic, because if you've seen us before this year, I was originally using two microphones to have my regular vocal on one and the affected vocal on the other. But so what the pedal is doing is just A-being between those two microphones. So I'm still...
Cool pedal, too. It's an XL. I can't remember the brand. Sorry. They didn't sponsor us anyway, so fuck them. But it's really cool, and it switches between two XLR. It's actually a mic switcher. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So, and it's hard to find. Not an easy tool to come across.
No, and it's a company from Australia, and it took a while to get it. But I love it. I still haven't mastered using it because I think that the mix is still a little weird on it. Anyway,
it's always
that's
weird.
nerdy. That's nerdy
it's
live
too complex.
Sound
it's
stuff.
Real complex. But another thing is, we have a somewhat of an idea, but you know what, man? It's always going to be different. It's always going to be different than you expect. For me, if I go into it thinking like, oh, I'm going to make something that's like this, it just doesn't work. I mean, the way that I write music is I play a guitar, something cool comes out, and I write a riff. That riff will inspire the next one, which will then it just becomes like a puzzle. Oh shit, we're back in this tempo. We can go back into this riff, and then Cheney can do that vocal thing again, and then it's sort of almost like a version of how we got this theme song. You know, it's like we actually wrote that for a different project. Turns out it was a cool theme song. That's how every one of our songs is, but just with smaller parts.
Yeah, absolutely. And When do we determine how if a song is done? It's when the song naturally feels done. There's never. You could keep building on any song for the rest of your life and make it the longest, most complex song of all time. And you could do that, but really, I feel like for the most part, songs have a natural feel. When they're done, they're done.
Yeah, definitely.
It's never been hard for me really to determine when something is done.
Yeah. Because
it just feels right.
Yeah, and even though we make technical music, we still go off of feel a lot.
A lot.
I don't think I'm like a super technical dude, even with my drumming and stuff. You know, I'm sure some people disagree, but I'm more about the feel. So I want things to feel nice and smooth and natural always, and we're still working towards it.
Absolutely.
Always working towards it.
It's the band thing is a never-ending process. You're always going to feel like the last thing you did. You're going to feel like it's the best thing you're doing while you're doing it. And then a few months after putting it out, you're going to be ready to make the next best thing that you did because you'll find all of the flaws in your past material.
And you always learn new stuff.
Always learn new stuff. It's a perpetual growth in music and art. If you're observing new music and art, you get ideas all the time. There's not a thing that for me isn't inspiring. Going outside in the morning is inspiring.
I know, everything.
Drinking.
Or the adverse. I mean, sometimes I'm at work or something and I'm kind of pent up. I know I get home, I get on the guitar and it's just like a garden holding the garden hose shut.
Absolutely.
Just,
yeah. I mean, the ideas can come whenever. You, for a minute, were carrying a journal with you to jot down ideas and stuff, and I kind of do that with writing lyrics. I'll do it on my phone in notes, or if I have something to write on, I'll do it there, because I'm the type of person who really likes to write down my lyrics the old-fashioned way.
Like with a pen?
With a pen and a piece of paper.
What's that?
I don't, yeah. I feel weird when I write stuff on the computer, but yeah. So,
Yep, sorry about that. Just doing a technical thing. So yeah, maybe one more and then we'll wrap up for the day.
Do we have, how many more questions do we have?
I think we got one about tour. We got Christopher.
Is there anything else that we didn't answer this week?
I think that's it.
Yeah, actually. Okay, cool. We only have one more question.
Yeah,
and this is from...
Yeah, we're going a little over from last week's time.
Oh, that's cool.
So
who cares?
Hopefully.
So this one's by Christopher. And it is, what's everyone's sleep schedules like when it comes to the drive? Do certain members try to sleep more during the day because they do night drives and vice versa? Well, it really comes down to the deal that you have worked out with the rest of your band.
I know, right?
For instance, on this last tour, we didn't take a merch person, so I did merch. And in return for that, I bargained that I would not be driving. I drove a few times, but not really anything substantial.
Which is another great thing you can do, and that's not get too ahead of yourself on the going back to the money-saving tactics. A lot of these people hire crew members when they really can't afford it. You know, nothing wrong with crew, but if you're an opener or something like that, not getting very much a night, then just man up and do the job yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Do the drive yourself. It's still not that hard of a job.
No, and that type of thing is really going to lend to the longevity of your band's career, because the more money that you can preserve at the beginning, the more you're going to have later down the line. And then the more, I think, prepared for money-saving tactics you will be in the future, because once bands start to bring in a bit of money from playing shows and stuff, I think it's really easy to start to throw that money away, and you want everyone to work for you.
Bring the lifestyle up real quick.
Yeah, you want a driver, and you want merch and a sound guy really quick, and you want lighting and things like that. And we kind of took away the light guy situation, because you program all of our lights are MIDI programmed to our set, and you did that.
Crew guys are just so mad at us right now.
We love crew guys, and crew guys are the hardest workers on tour.
But really, if you think about
they're
this,
amazing.
If you think about what I'm saying here, we're talking about doing longevity. So if a band has crew, but what they're doing is not sustainable, well, then the crew guy's not even going to have work for very long.
Yeah.
Because they haven't set themselves up to win long term. So everything that we do, we're trying to think out 5-10 years out, always, and we want to make something that's sustainable so that it works. And sometimes that means doing the hard thing, and saying, all right, well, Cheney's going to do merch. Naveen's going to drive after the show. I'm tired. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm hitting workouts on tour too. But yeah, what I do with my sleep schedule on tour is I just maintain, I have that little bedtime app on my, it's an iPhone thing. Mm-hmm. And so whatever time I go to bed, I just move the little slide around and get 7 hours sleep every night. That's what I do.
Yeah. I usually stay up pretty late. It's kind of
last one up.
Yeah. I'm usually the last one up. It's kind of hard for me to fall asleep when people are driving. I have someone.
Your job's probably a little bit more mentally taxing, just being on stage and having to interface with people. Like when I interface with people a lot, I get so tired.
Yeah, it is. It is very taxing to talk to people all night, and nothing against the people I'm talking to or anything. No, it's just that it's draining to do all of that stuff, and you get very discombobulated. Being me, I headbang and move around a lot on stage, and I'm completely discombobulated for a good 45 minutes after I get off stage. And so yeah, I stay up the latest probably because I'm waiting for that good Planet Fitness shower for us to get to a Planet Fitness. Usually,
shout out to Planet. No, actually, not shout out to Planet Fitness.
Yeah, y'all gotta
give me a free fucking membership, and then we'll talk, dude. Let's change it.
Yeah, man. That $20 isn't cheap enough.
Snap Fitness, what's up?
I bet it's so expensive to go to Snap Fitness, but yeah, I stay up pretty late. I also wake up at. I can't really sleep past noon. 11:30 on tour, so I wake up about the same time. In our particular band, Travis, our guitar player, is very good about waking up early. So
he usually goes straight to bed after the show, and I'll drive first, get us to that Planet Fitness.
Yeah, Trav is our early morning driver,
and it's a system. When you get that system down, it's fine. It works. Some nights I'm tired and I don't want to drive. I'm over it. I want to drink and stuff, but
it's the same as anything else. You're gonna get tired of all of that stuff.
Yep.
And also, shout out to crew guys. I didn't mean to hate on you guys. We love you. You have a much and I always say the crew guys are doing the hardest job on tour because it's all of the stuff and none of the glory because they're not playing a show.
Yep.
And so if you're a crew guy that goes on tour, hats off to you. Yep. Years ago, I swore to myself I would never do merch again because I did merch on a headlining Animals as Leaders tour, and I hated doing merch. And
it's not a good time.
If you're not playing the show, it's not as fun for me personally. There are a lot of people who love doing that shit, and but
like I said, we love crew.
We love the crew.
We need to create something that's not going to fall in on itself. House of Cards.
Yeah,
in 5
because
years.
we want to be able to have the crew in 5 years.
Exactly.
We don't only want to be able to have the crew right now and not have a band in 5 years because we aren't financially stable anymore.
And musicians, artistic people, they're usually not thinking that way. It's being artistic is sort of being in the moment all the time, and I get that. And I'm also not trying to sound like I'm all, this guy is obsessed with money and all that shit. No, I'm only doing this so that I can keep doing my art. So I can keep doing it on the next level and I can do it for longer. So yeah, I'm going to do all this other shit that I don't necessarily want to do, but I'm going to get good at it because that's what's going to get me there.
Yeah, and this sense of budgeting, because we've really implemented this into our band and our personal lives very hard this year, has helped us a ton. Our band has no debt. Yeah. And a trailer full of merch and all of our stuff is paid off. And
it's not like we're out there doing these insane numbers. We're a smaller band.
Yeah.
But when you work with what you've got, you really make it behave. The money behave, as Dave Ramsey would say. Shout out to Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey is who Naveen is getting these financial tips. Who made the Every Dollar app.
Exactly. And
that we use.
Just implementing that stuff, it will put you in a different situation, and you'll just be like, wow, I can't believe where I'm at.
Yeah. It's really helped our band. And so I think that something important, if you are looking into doing the touring thing and you want to be a band that's on the road, budget. Yeah. Budget.
And try to pay up front as much as you can, even if it sucks, because it's going to suck either way. It's either going to suck way worse later, or it's going to suck a little bit now.
Yeah. And this is one of those things that management is going to help you do that you should really also be doing for yourself, is writing out a budget before every tour. And instead of taking tours on a whim because you think that, because you just have to get out there, you want to be on tour so bad that you're going to take anything that comes your way, logically budget out whether the tour is something that you should be doing or not. Because making those kind of decisions on look at things from a 5-year, as if you're looking at it 5 years from now.
Exactly.
And 5 years from now, taking this or that tour isn't what's going to matter. What's going to matter is if you sent your band into a ton of debt.
Yeah, and now you're like, well, we can't even go on tour because we have to freaking go home and try to pay this crap off.
Exactly. And I do think that is one of the reasons out of a few that a lot of bands break up after a while, because they haven't paid enough attention to what they're doing financially, and they haven't weighed out these things in their head before they accept tours or take on a bunch of merch debt or sign a contract to get on a label or any other thing like that. Like, you want a part of working on the band is that you want it to be around for as long as it possibly can.
Exactly.
And if you're sending your finances into a shitty place, it's going to send the morale of the band into a shitty place.
God, it's
and that's
root cause of all fights.
Yeah. I think that is for marriage, and being in a band is just like a marriage, really, with 4 or 5 different people. So, weigh out the pros and cons and budgets, and this goes back to the renting a van thing. Renting a van costs so much money.
Yep.
Renting a trailer costs so much money. Yep. Gas costs money. Everything costs money. Make smart decisions.
And sometimes you got to do stuff that's like not ideal.
Yeah.
Oh, well, if we do that, it's not going to be ideal. Yeah, that sucks. That's called sacrifice.
I will say we turned down a tour earlier this year that I really did not want to turn down. It was a European tour.
Yeah.
And it would have been a great tour for us, but we knew that financially it could have gone well, but it was too much of a question mark for us to accept the tour offer. Exactly. And so we said no to it. And you know what? I feel better about it now because we probably would have been in debt.
Yeah, and next time we go, we'll be set up to go.
Exactly.
We're laying that groundwork to go.
Exactly. It's all about making smart decisions, man. So
because we want to be here. We want to continue to do this art. We want to do this art for a living. And it means this is what you have to do. It's the exact same thing as what Cheney was saying earlier, how I'll get out and solder stuff and figure out how to program lights and shit. I never thought I would do any of that. I was terrible with all that stuff. Terrible with money too. But I put 2 and 2 together, as I said on the last episode, and I realized I have to do this. If we want to keep going and doing this, I need to do this. Otherwise, it's going to crash and burn. It does not bode well. So, hey, I'll do it.
Yeah.
It's all for the art, baby.
It's all for the art.
But once again, I think that's going to put episode 2 in the books.
Wow, that's a wrap.
Yeah. We appreciate everybody listening.
Thank you guys so much, really. We had no idea what to expect.
Seriously.
And it's already exceeded expectations. Yeah.
This was probably a different kind of episode because we were on the caffeine and the beer. So probably next time we'll bust out some beers. I don't know. Maybe this is like people are going to be like, they're talking way fast.
I know. We might be. Hey, slow it down. You can go 50%.
But seriously, really, really appreciate you guys. Like just all the comments have been really good. 0 dislikes on
well, so far now we're gonna get one. Hey, also keep those questions coming because they're really fueling us. They're helping us out, and like we said, soon we're gonna start announcing guests, and we'll get questions for them.
Do we have an email that we can just make the question email?
We do. It's KoperCrabb Podcast at gmail.com. So it's really easy. It's the name of the podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah. So just send them in. It doesn't have to be for this week or now. Just send them in. We're gonna just stockpile them.
Yeah, we answered some questions this week that are from 2 weeks ago. So we're just gonna keep doing things like that, and
And so seriously, thank you for all the new viewers this week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's it for us. Have a beautiful day, you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Naveen and Cheney checking out.